So today I'm working on the Christmas chevron. And for those that are not familiar with a chevron basically means it goes up and down like this. So we started last week down here at the bottom, and we've been working up and down. And I got the full row of white or red done, and now I'm working on the white. So it's kind of a fun pattern. This pattern itself is called the Hugs and Kisses, and it was designed as a baby blanket. But I thought to myself, this is going to be an awesome Christmas blanket. So I'm using red, white, and green. And this is Caron Simply Soft. Sorry, as I get my little work position here. And this is a free pattern by Mikey over at the Crochet Crowd. It was actually designed by Jeannie. And Jeannie was Mikey's assistant. However, she has now retired. But this is a beautiful pattern. And like I said, I've used it a lot for baby blankets. However, I just thought it would look really pretty as a Christmas blanket. So I've made it pretty large, and forgive me, I don't remember how many chains I started with, but if you look at the pattern, it gives you some very specific guidelines as to if you're using this size hook with this weight of yarn, and you want it to be lap gan, use this many starting chains. If you want a baby blanket, use this many, and so it makes it very you don't have to think about it. It's all right there on the pattern for you. And I did print out the pattern. I'll grab it here so you guys can kind of see. It has full written directions. So it has all of the written directions. Now my printer kind of was out of ink. I've since gotten some ink, but the whole front page here didn't print. So this is what I'm using today. Oh, here's how many chains I started with. So I'm using a 5mm H8 hook, 242 chains for a sofa size blanket, and it will be 8 chevrons. So those are the little up and downs. Obviously, this is the kids blanket, how it looks. She used a color changing yarn. But the thing that I like to use on these patterns is a diagram. And this is a repeating pattern. So basically it's this chunk, and you repeat it over and over and over again. When you get up here to this very top, you come back down here and start repeating. So normally when you do this baby blanket, you do sections like this. And if you look at this pattern, I'm actually doing it a little bit different. So if you follow the repeat, you would end with this red right here. And I should have started the white with this V-stitch on top of the red. And when you do that, the section will become unbalanced. So you would only have this big of a section. You would be missing this bottom double crochet row. And so what I've done is I'm actually going to do the full thing as a repeat. And so I'm kind of ignoring the rules of the pattern, if you will. Call the crochet, please. Get them fired up this morning because I'm already breaking the rules. So basically, I'm going to do this chunk. And I'm going to do chunk, chunk, chunk. And I'm going to do red, white, green. And where I'm at right now on this pattern is at the very bottom here, and I'm doing these double crochets. And I'm going to talk about this pattern as we go along, of course, kind of explaining. But where I'm at right now, oh my gosh, I've lost my scissors. My scissors are my pointer. How am I going to function this morning? And I've lost my crochet hook. Here's my hook. Okay. So when you are first starting out, you're going to have basically 2 double crochets when you first start out. And the very sides of this pattern are smaller sections. So I'm going to have 5 double crochets. Then we do 3 double crochets together. And then we do 12 double crochets as we go up the mountain. Then at the very peak of the mountain, we're going to have 3 together. Then we're going to go back down, which is 12 double crochets, and then we're going to do 3 together, and then we're going to repeat that. So if you look at the very edge of this blanket, and we're kind of looking at upside, this is the right side, okay? When you make your bobble stitches, these are the bobble stitches, these little round balls, if you can see them. When you make bobble stitches, they point out the back of your work rather than the front. So when you work them on this side right here. But this is the short side where you have the 5. So here I did the 2 double crochets. Here's my 5. Here's my 3 together. Then I went up the mountain. Here's my 3 at the top. And so I'm just going to continue working this. And I'll be explaining this more as we go along. But let me get my work turned out here and untangle my yarn. I've turned this around so many times this morning. I've got myself all tangled up. So here we had 3 at the top in that stitch. Now I need 12 to go down. So 1, 2, and I'm just going to work a double crochet into 12 stitches. So did everybody have a good weekend while I'm working on these 12? Tell me. And how are our friends down in Texas and Arkansas and all the places that got weather yesterday? Everybody doing all right? I know Texas Whiskey's down in Texas. I'm not sure how many other people are down in Texas, but I know they had some. I haven't seen the news this morning, but I was watching Ryan Hall for a bit yesterday, and I know they were getting some pretty serious weather down there in that neck of the woods. So I hope everybody's okay this morning. So here are our 12 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now here I am at the valley. Now one of the things that I am not liking about this, do you see how when I did the row below, I did 3 together single crochets. That's how the pattern works. But do you see how it looks wonky right here, for lack of a better word, with these red stitches kind of showing through? I do not like the look of that. And so I am making a little modification on the pattern. You can see it here. I kind of tried to straighten that out so it doesn't look so weird, okay? So when we do 3 together, we're going to go into 1, 2, and 3 stitches, and we're going to do a double crochet, but we're not going to finish it. So we're going to go into the first, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, but now we don't finish it, we just hold those 2. Then I need to do the same thing into the second stitch, but here's where I'm going to cheat it a little bit. So I yarn over my hook. See this white stitch that's floating down here? I'm going to force this stitch onto my hook and pull it up. Then I'm going to go through the 2 bars, grab my loop and pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I have, again, 2 stitches on my hook, on my hook. But see how that pulled that up? And so it made this look more uniform. Now I've got one more that's kind of hanging out down here. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around. Again, I'm going to go over under that little white stitch. Again, the pattern does not call for this. I just do not like how it looks. Now into this next stitch, I'm going to put my hook under, grab a loop, and draw through all 3 of those, yarn over, and pull through 2. So now I have my original starting loop, and then I have 1, 2, 3 unfinished double crochets. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of those 4 stitches. That is your 3 together double crochets. And you can see where I kind of did that little cheat to try to smooth out that white. This is what it looked like before. See how it just doesn't look very pretty? It's still not marvelous, but I feel like it's not such an eyesore. So that's how I'm trying to get around that. Stacy said, I'm in San Antonio, all good here. Oh, good. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody is having a good week this morning. So now we're going to go up the hill. You can see this is our little chevron here. So we're going to put 12 double crochets up the hill. And then when we get to the top, here is our together stitches, the 3 together. In the very middle one, we're going to put 3 double crochets in that very one stitch. Will the red bleed when it's washed? Yes, possibly, Betty. And another person asked me that on the last live, and I missed answering the question. What I use is I go to Wally World. They have them everywhere, but there is a product that's called a color collector sheet. Color collector sheet. And I believe it's by Shout. And what you do is you put those color collector sheets in the wash, And as the color bleeds from the yarn or whatever, um, you can use it just for your, if you put like accidentally put like a dark shirt in with your white socks or something, you could use them for that too. So basically, that's what they were developed for, is they collect the excess color in the wash and prevent it from transferring over. But yes, very much the red and green could bleed onto the white. And so I just always have those color collector sheets. And guys, I gift a lot of my blankets, and I take it a step further. If I am gifting a blanket that has dark colors that I know it could potentially bleed and cause issues, I gift a box of the color collector sheets with the item that I'm giving. And I put a little note that says colors may bleed, use these, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So I kind of put it in with the card. Um, so anyhow, yeah, they're made. Gen X said, "Yeah, I never do laundry anymore without a color catcher sheet in it. I don't separate my loads anymore." That's what they were designed for, but they work great in a situation like this where you potentially have these colors that bleed. And you can get them at Wally World. You can get them on Amazon. They have different size boxes of them. When I'm gifting them, I just get the smallest box, and I think it's got like 8 sheets or 10 sheets or something. I don't remember. And so, yeah, it is an added cost, but I would rather gift it with the item that I'm giving away, just so that, all my hard work doesn't get ruined. So, I mean, it can't be prevented, right? I mean, ultimately, the person I gift it to has the responsibility of washing it and whatnot. But um, I just think that it's worth it to me. So here we are. Okay, we've done our 12 double crochets. Now here we are to the valley again. And when we get to the valley, you can see we have 1, 2, 3 stitches here. Here's where we did our 3 together of the row below. And here's our little wonky white underlaying stitches that I'm going to try to deal with again. Okay, so into the first stitch, we're going to put a double crochet, wrap my yarn around the hook, into that stitch, grab a loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. Now don't finish, just hold those stitches. Now again, wrap my yarn around. Now this is an added thing. This is the stitch I'm going into. But before I do that, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to cheat and put this little white ugly stitch onto my hook. Then I'm going to go through those stitches. So now I have all 3. I'm going to draw through all 3. Now I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, again, holding. And then I have, here's the third stitch. Same thing, wrap my yarn around. And you don't have to do this, okay? If you're not changing colors like this, even if you are, you don't have to do this. I'm just kind of particular about this kind of stuff and how things look. And so that's why I do this. But it's not required. It's not part of the pattern. It's just I try to make things a little prettier, if you will. Just work with it. Sometimes I got my hook caught up there. Okay, so there I have 2. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. So now we have our starting loop. Then we have 1, 2, 3 unfinished double crochets. So total 4 loops on our hook, yarn over and draw through all 4 of those. That's our 3 together double crochet. So this is what it looks like now. Here's what it looked like before for reference. So to me, it just looks a little cleaner. It kind of makes it so those stitches aren't hanging down there. But again, you don't have to do that. I just am trying to kind of show you what I'm doing, to disclose everything. So now we're going back up the hill. So you remember we need 12 double crochets. So I'm going to do 12 here. Jay said hanging stitches and now I can fix. Just came here to say thank you for showing. Yeah, it really bugs me. I don't know. When I look at a line of color like this, now you can see the red is still kind of pulling up in there. It's not exactly perfect, right? This is more uniform. Now, guys, this is the back of the blanket. But really, I mean, when you gift this, now this is going to be for my living room. Here's how it looks from the front. Okay, from the front, you can see here's the fabulous little bobble stitches. Here's the cross stitches. This is the double crochet. So this is where I was fixing that. It looks totally fine from the front. The front isn't the issue. because this is technically, as you work it, this blanket, this is the front. But when you display it or show it, the front is actually the back for this pattern. It's a little different. And that's the reason why is because when you work a bobble stitch, the texture goes to the back of the blanket. And so that's why the front of the blanket is actually the back. How confusing is that on a Tuesday morning? It's a good thing I didn't come on here and try to do this on a Wednesday, right? Goodness, goodness. I don't know if I have any volume over on YouTube. Has anybody been over to YouTube to see if I have volume? I'm wondering if I'm coming through over there. I am streaming live both on TikTok and YouTube this morning. I enjoy streaming live on YouTube. It's something I've only started in the last week or so. But this way, as I'm working on these projects, then I can publish them and have them for replay. So that's a pretty cool thing. But anyhow, happy Tuesday, everybody. Mama C says, sounded good on YT. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you, thank you. Good morning. Just found you. This looks beautiful. Hey, Monty, good morning. Welcome to our little crew here. Now, you guys, you're not going to see Mama Wheeler for a full week. I know you guys are going to be in withdrawals. For those that don't know, Mama Wheeler is my mom, and Papa Wheeler, who thinks he's the crochet police. They come on the live and support me and chat with all you guys. But Mama Wheeler and Papa Wheeler are on a cruise for the next week. So they will not be here with us on the live this week, but hopefully I'm enough to keep y'all interested, even if they're not here. So anyhow, that's where they're at. If you guys are wondering why they're being awfully quiet, they're not going to be with us. Now here we are to the valley, okay, and you can see here's the 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Here's these little hanging down stitches that I don't care for, that I'm going to work on fixing those. So when you get to the valley, what you're going to do is we're going to do a 3 together double crochet. This is what it looks like on the pattern right here. See this little like broom looking thing? You can come up here to the legend and you find the stitch and it says 3 single crochet, or here it is, 3 double crochet together. So you just find where this matches this so that you know what you're making. And so that's what we're making. So the way that we do that is we're going to put a double crochet into each of these 3 stitches, but we're not going to finish the stitch. And so anyhow, I wrap my yarn around, I go down into this stitch, I grab up a loop. Now we have 3, yarn over, pull through 2. Now don't finish it, just hold. Now I'm going to do the same thing into this next stitch here. So I wrap my yarn around. Now I would go under this stitch, but what I'm going to do, see these little stragglers here that are messing with the aesthetics of my blanket? I'm going to go under that first, then under my bars, grab up a loop. Now I have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and I just hold. So the pattern does not call for me to pick up that stitch. I just do not like how that looks. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to streamline it a little bit so it looks nicer on the back of this pattern. Okay, so here we are. Here's number 3. Wrap my yarn around. Again, here is that little hang down stitch. It's kind of hard to get on there. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this because I don't like how it looks on the blanket itself. Yarn over, pull through all of those. Then I yarn over and pull through 2, again hold. So we have our initial loop. Here's 1, 2, and 3 double crochets that are unfinished. So we have 4 loops. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those. Those are our 3 together double crochets. So that is the valley of our stitch. So if you look at the up and down, this is the valley. Now here we are. We're going to be heading up the hill. And then when we get to the very tippy top in the center, this is our 3 together here. The very center one is going to get 3 double crochets in that one stitch. So we need 12 double crochets. We're going to go up the hill and I'm going to do 12. So Betty asked the question, I was going to change this with a bobble, from a bobble to a not a popcorn, a puff stitch. And Betty, to answer your question, I did try it with a puff stitch. and I did not like it. I felt like the texture was off. So what we're talking about is on the right side of the pattern here. If we look at that, it was actually the wrong side. These are the bobble stitches that we're talking about. See, they're kind of hard to see on the red, but hopefully you guys can see those little bobble stitches if I turn them on the side. So we're going to get to making these later in the live. I originally thought that I might substitute these with a puff stitch, and I just did not care for how they looked. So I went back to the original bobble and went with that. I probably could do the puff stitch at some point. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it, Betty. I went back to what it was, but I am adding an extra row on this pattern. So this pattern, for those that are just joining, this is the Hugs and Kisses Chevron blanket. This is a free pattern by the Crochet Crowd. There are links on the link tree for both the YouTube tutorial that Mikey did, along with the written pattern. There's also links to the yarn that I'm using today. The yarn I'm using is Caron Simply Soft, and I'm using the colors Harvest Red, White, and I will be using Dark Sage. So this is the Dark Sage that I'm going to be using. It's a green. I'm making a Christmas blanket, and this is going to be for the back of my couch. So we're not to the green yet, but basically I'm going to be repeating in sections here. So this is the first section of red. Then I'm going to do another one of these in the white, like you see here. Then when I get done with the white, then I'm going to do the green. And so it's just going to be kind of up and down waves that you can see here. We started this last week on the live, and I'm just going to keep working this. So this is basically the second row of the white. So here at the very tippy top, I put 3 double crochets. Now I'm going to work my way down the mountain to this little valley here. And so again, because we had 12 on this side, we need 12 on this side. This is a repeating pattern, and one of the things that I really like about this, guys, is you can just sit here in your chair and watch TV, listen to your audiobook. It doesn't require you to really keep referring back to the pattern. Once you get this pattern kind of down, you can easily repeat this without having to keep referring back. And I really enjoy patterns like that because I just want to relax, right? I don't want to have to do a lot of thinking. Now, I do have to do some counting here and there. But one of the things you can do is really watch for some indicators as you're working on your pattern. So you can see right now I'm, rambling on and talking, and I'm not counting, but I look for these indicators. So see this little group right here? This is the very bottom of the valley. This was 3 together single crochets of the row below. So that tells me when I get to this, these 3 are going to be the new bottom of my valley, in which case I'm going to put 3 double crochets together. So here we had the top. Here's our 12. Now we're to the valley. So I look for this little grouping, and I become familiar with it so that I can recognize it and not have to count these 12. Now, sometimes I screw up and I do have to go back and count, but that's how I do it without counting. So I wrap my yarn around my hook. I go into that first stitch. I grab a loop, just like a double crochet. We have 3, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I don't finish it. I just hold right here. Now I need to do the same thing in the next 2 stitches. Now here's one little odd thing that I'm doing because I just changed colors of yarn. Do you see how we have these little 2 hang down stitches with the red in between? Those are from the 3 together single crochets on the other row here. And I don't like the look of that. I would rather it be more even and consistent for this color change. So the cheat that I'm doing, I wrap my yarn around. Instead of going right into this stitch, I'm grabbing this white stitch that I don't like. I'm putting it on my hook. Then I'm going under that stitch. Then I'm pulling through all 3 of those. So you can see how that pulled that stitch up, and now it's not like hanging down. To me, it looks better this way. Is it perfect? No, but it's better. And so I will then yarn over and go through 2. Now I hold. Now we need to do one more. So here's our 3rd stitch. Here's another hang down stitch. So again, I'm going to grab that. I wrap my yarn around, and then I slide this stitch on the hook. Now, you guys, you don't have to do this, especially if you aren't changing colors. Even if you are, it's just something that I'm doing. So I'm trying to explain how I'm doing it so that you guys, so a lot of you have made this pattern, and so this is familiar to you. But anyhow, pull through. Now we have our original loop. We have 1, 2, 3 unfinished double crochets. So we have a total of 4. And now we're going to wrap my yarn around and pull through all 4. So those are our 3 together double crochets. So that's the bottom of our valley. And to me, I mean, again, this doesn't look like super perfect, but it looks better to me than this. If I didn't do that, it would remain looking like this. Okay. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Once we get to the other rows and continue on, we're never going to have to do that again. It's only when I'm changing colors here that I just don't like the aesthetic. So Mary said, have you ever thought about making a sensory blanket for little kids? Yeah, I have. That is one of the things right now as I'm crocheting, guys. This is actually what becomes the front. See how we have these baubles? They're hard to see, but they really, if I turn on the side, you can kind of see it better there. But this pattern has really nice textures. So basically we have the way the pattern repeats is you have a double crochet, which that's what we're working on now. Then you have cross double crochets. Then you have the bobble stitch. Then you have another cross double crochets, and then you're back to the double crochet. So that's the repeat right there. So it makes it really easy to remember as you're going along. Eduardo said, wow, that's awesome. Can't see those 2 little guys. Yeah, I feel like it really kind of sucks them up and hides them. And this is how it looks from the front, right? It looks really good from the front, right? So I'm just trying to make it aesthetically nice from the back too, just because I'm a weirdo that way, guys. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, if you didn't pick that up already. Yeah, so this pattern is a baby blanket. This is called the Hugs and Kisses baby blanket. It's a chevron blanket. It's a free pattern by the Crochet Crowd. It was designed by Jeannie, who was Mikey's assistant. She has retired. And so it's a free pattern on his site. There are links on my link tree to both the written pattern and the YouTube tutorial that Mikey did. So feel free to check those out along with the yarn that I'm using today. It's Caron Simply Soft. Hey, there's Texas Whiskey. Good morning. How's the weather down there, Texas? You doing all right? So here are our 3 together stitches here. You can see how they're in the same 1, 2, and 3. So the very first one gets a double crochet. That is stitch number 12. So if we count these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here is, the sign that I look for when I get to the top of the mountain. Okay, so we have these 3 together. The first one gets a double crochet. The middle one is where we place 3 double crochets together. So that's the very tippy top of our mountain. It's good right now, but I haven't looked outside. Okay, good, good. I made some coasters off a pattern by Mikey. Yeah, I love Mikey. You guys know I'm a big supporter of, I have lots of favorites, but I do love the Crochet Crowd. They really do fabulous work. And Mikey is a wonderful teacher. I aspire to be as great of a teacher as Mikey, but, um, you know, I try really hard, but he's got a lot more practice with this. I've only started in July coming on here and explaining stitches and stuff. So I expect I'll only get better with time, but I do my very best to try to explain what it is I'm crocheting. I am not a career crocheter, if you will. I have a job. I'm just a hobby crocheter like most people. And I come on here just to chat with my friends and share the patterns that I'm working on and all of that stuff. So I'm not really a pattern creator. Now, with that being said, I was talking to Macy a little bit about this. And for those that don't know, Macy moderates our Discord. So if you are interested in getting on the Discord, and I didn't update the link, hopefully it's still working. On the link tree is the link to our Discord. And for those that are not familiar, Discord is a chat server. So it allows us to share pictures, it allows us to share our works in progress, ask questions. We're very close to 100 on the Discord. I'm super excited. We made it a couple weeks ago, and anyhow, I think at last I looked, we had 98. If Macy was here, she could tell us exactly where we're at, but super close to 100. So that's very exciting. If you want to get on the Discord, it's in my link tree. And like I said, if that link isn't working, I've got to update it all the time. That's a little wonky, but I will update it again so you can get on the Discord. So one of the things I was kind of telling Macy, and we were kind of sidebar chatting over on the Discord, and I don't know about how you guys feel. Mary said that it's not working, so I will definitely update that Discord link, guys. Sorry, I forget that this stupid thing expires. But I'll get it updated later today. You all can go back on there later and maybe sign up for the Discord, or tomorrow. I'll remind you again. Um, but one of the things that I was mentioning to Macy is for whatever reason, this time of year, as we head into the holidays, I feel a strong pull. I don't know what you would call it, desire. I feel this like calling, I guess you could say, to try to give back. Now, you guys know I make a lot of baby blankets and I donate those to the NICU where my sister-in-law is working. And one of the things that I have been wanting to do is I wanted to find a place where I could make lap gowns and donate to a retirement facility, an assisted living facility, something along those lines. And, I just, my grandmother, before she passed, she was in a memory care facility in Prescott, Arizona, and it was called Margaret T. Morris. And it was just a really nice facility. And my grandma suffered from dementia. And so my mom volunteered there at the facility. And, it was just a thing that, uh, it was a very nice thing because we'd go and visit my grandma, but there was a lot of people that were lonely in there that maybe didn't have family. And anyhow, I feel this calling, right, to maybe make um, like some lap gowns for like wheelchair blankets to be able to donate to a facility like this. And I have been looking for several months to find the right one, the one that like spoke to me, right? And I have looked around here locally, but you guys know I'm from a very small town here. And, I'm sure there are ones in Huntsville that I could go and try to figure out a partnership with. But because I do work full time, I need it to be easy. I need it to not have to um, and it's not to say that at some point I couldn't like get a partnership or something, but I'm looking for something that was already established. Kind of like my sister-in-law who works in the NICU. I don't have to think about it. I just hand her the baby blankets when she comes for a visit, and she transports them down there, and it's just done. And I trust that they're going to a good cause and whatnot. So I wanted that. So anyhow, I was watching Creative Grandma the other day, and she mentioned a program, and she didn't go into a lot of detail about it, but it was called Warm Up America. Has anybody heard of Warm Up America? Show of hands. I had not heard of Warm Up America, but what I learned after doing some research is Warm Up America is a program that is established in Texas, and they are donating blankets to homeless, to shelters, just all over. And people are donating crochet or knit, and they're putting together these blankets, and it's a wonderful cause. And the thing is, the way that they do their blankets is you make and don't quote me on this, I believe it's a 7 by 10 size square rectangle thing. It may be 9 by, I can't remember. I put links on the link tree for Warm Up America. Now, for me, oh, Deanna said I'm making things for them right now. Yeah, so I shared the link on Discord. For me, there is not a big appeal for me to make 7 by 9 or whatever the dimensions are type squares and send them to Texas. That is not something that really calls to me. I like to make full blankets. I like things to be pretty and finished, and kind of more of a gifting type situation. So as I was digging around on the site, I found a link that said current needs, I believe is what it said. And as I dug deeper into the current needs list, I found a part of that called Saber Healthcare Group Organization, something. Saber Healthcare, Saber. And they have facilities all over that are closer to me than Texas. So I live in Alabama. I would rather, ship to Virginia or Tennessee or somewhere that's a little closer if I'm shipping something, just to save on shipping expenses. So I got really excited, guys, because when I looked at this list, they had hundreds of facilities, and they have them in Virginia, Pennsylvania, just areas that are closer to me. And on this list, they have a column that is for shawls. They have a column that is for lap gowns for wheelchairs, and they have a column for veterans. And when I added up the needs of all these different facilities, the amount of blankets that are still needed in these different care facilities, it was over 1,500 are still needed um, in these different facilities. And so for me, this is the place. And what I want to do is the lap gowns are 35 by 45-inch size. And so it's a little bigger than a baby blanket, but I would like to try to make some of these to get shipped off before the holidays, but be able to continue on with that, because as crocheters, and maybe this doesn't speak to everybody, but this is how I think about it. There's only so many blankets or stuff that I can make for me personally or family before they're like, we're going to disown you. Stop giving us stuff. We don't need this stuff. And I reached this point many, many years ago because I've been crocheting for 40 years. And so a big part of what I try to do is more for charity, and try to go and help, homeless or a women's shelter or something like that, or the NICU, along those lines. Pausing real quick with this ramble. Okay, so I have here, we're at the very short end of our blanket. We do 5 double crochets. Now here is the very last stitch. And in this last stitch, we need to do 2 double crochets to end this row. So whenever you get to the end of your pattern, you can't do just the one, you have to do the 2. When you do the 2, you can see the 2 here and so on. This is what helps keep your blanket straight. So in your mind, you just want to put 1, but in reality, you need 2. Okay. Now I'm going to chain 1. This chain that I made does not count. And now I'm going to turn my work. So now we get to see the pretty side with the fancy bobble stitches. Okay, so this is like becomes the front. Now into this first stitch, this is the stitch here. Here's the little chain I did. We need to do 2 single crochets, excuse me. If you're new to crochet and you have a hard time identifying your very beginning stitches when you turn your work, just put in a stitch marker. Then you'll know when you turn and get to that was your first stitch. It's very hard when you're a new crocheter to quickly identify that. And sometimes your edges will get wonky and not stay straight because you can't identify that starting stitch. So now we're going to go down the hill. And again, you remember we had 5 on the short side. So I need 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you can see here, this was our 3 together from the row below. So that's my identifier that I need to put 3 together single crochets. 1, 2, 3, you identify them. And now we're going to do 3 together single crochets. So the way I do that is I go in the first stitch, drop a loop, don't do anything else, don't finish it. Go into the next loop, drop a loop. Now we have 3, again, don't finish. Here's the last one, number 3, drop a loop. Now we have 4, put them all together, yarn over and draw through all 4. That is your 3 together single crochet. So again, that is your new little valley. Now we're going to go back up the hill. So just like we did the double crochets, we're going to do 12 single crochets. Look for the top of the valley or the top of the mountain here. Here's my 3, right? You can see how they're together. This one will get a single crochet. That'll be number 12. Here's the middle. That one's going to get 3 single crochets right in the top. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you can count these, or as you do this pattern, you'll get more familiar. So again, here is that 3 together. This is what I was talking about. See, number 12 went there. Here's the very middle one. We need 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. When you put 3 like that, it causes it to fan out. So that becomes our new point. Now we're ready to go back down the valley, down to the valley. So here we do 12 single crochets. Here is the valley again. See the 3? We look for that, and then into these 3, we're going to put the single crochets together. So anyhow, the blanket that I'm going to work on and start tomorrow is a Christmas ripple is what I'm going to start tomorrow. And I want to make it to donate to Sabre. And if I like the look of the Christmas ripple, I might try to make a few of them to get donated. But we'll just see. I don't know how long they're going to take me. And so it's kind of like a to be determined type thing. Okay, pause for more crochet talk. So here again is our 3 together. We're down here in the valley. 1, 2, 3. So we need to do 3 single crochets together. This is very easy. You put your hook through, drop a loop. Now don't finish it, just hold it. Go into the next one, drop a loop. Again, don't finish, just hold. Here's number 3, underneath, drop a loop. Now we have 4. Now we yarn over and pull through all 3. Those are 3 single crochets together. Now we're going to go back up the mountain. So we have 12 single crochets. So the other thing, I really like working blankets in the round, and I'm sure you guys have seen me make a number of these. And one of the things, when you're working on a wheelchair lapgan, the size is 35 by 45. So obviously that is a rectangle type shape. Here's the top of our mountain. This one gets a single crochet. There's number 12. Here's the very top. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going back down the mountain. Okay, so just keep working these single crochets. So anyhow, 35 by 45 is a rectangle shape, and they're rectangle shape because they go down the lap like I'm sitting here. You don't want the blankets to overhang and get caught in the wheels. And so they're kind of more rectangle shape. But I love to work in the round. And you know, I'm working on the study of snow. That's a worked in the round. So when you are talking about something worked in the round, you start like you would a granny square, right? Like with a magic ring or a chain ring, and you go around and around and around, and you work all of the sides. That is called working in the round. You'll hear that term for those type of projects. Let me count. Sorry, I want to make sure I got this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Obviously, if it's a rectangle shape, working in the round because your center is square, mathematically, it doesn't work out. But the other night I was sitting here because I've been thinking about these wheelchair blankets for a long time, guys. This is not just something new that's kind of popped into my head, but it's definitely on my forefront right now. And I think about these things in my sleep. And I thought to myself, I can still make a blanket in the round, but I need to start with a rectangle rather than a square. And how do I make a rectangle instead of a square? If you start with a rectangle, yeah, your sides are going to be different. So maybe if you are working this bobble stitch, maybe you have 20 on one side and only, 18 or 16 on the other side, right? And then it becomes a rectangle. So I've been really noodling on this the last few days. And over the weekend, I started screwing around and just playing with this concept of how can I make a rectangle in the round. That way it has fun textures, and I could just go around and around and around and use fun like ombre yarns and not have to change yarn. So I want to be able to make blankets quickly if they're for donation, right? I don't want them as intricate as something that I might be putting in the county fair or gifting to my mother or something that I would have at my house, right? But I still want it to be nice. I don't want it to look crappy looking, right? I'm pretty proud of the work that I produce. So anyhow, I've been noodling and playing around with this concept. And here's where I kind of left off with one yesterday. So I'm working on developing. Normally, if this was a square, it would only be like this, right? But you can see this is rectangle. If we measure this, so this is like almost 4.5 by 6. So the way that a lot of people work their rectangle blankets, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, you start with this. And, there's nothing wrong with this look. So basically, you start with a chain and then you do these. But personally, I don't like the look of this. To me, it looks like a caterpillar in the center of the blanket. And I just don't like the appearance of it. So, will I have to go to this at some point? Yeah, maybe, possibly. But in the meantime, I'm trying to develop something more along the lines of this. So rather than this look, have it look more like this. And here is one that I worked on. Now this, I'm still trying to work out this one is still too square that I worked on over the weekend. So this, like I said, this is a pattern that I'm developing. There is no pattern for this, but see how I'm trying to get this more like this. So then I can continue out these rows, but you can kind of see my plan is to be able to do like this is a V-stitch. Here's a puff stitch, right? And I still have this like fabulous texture, but it's worked in the round and it'll be eventually a rectangle. So that's what I'm working on right now. And it might take me a little bit to get this like figured out because there's like some math and stuff that goes with it. And I'm not a pattern maker, guys. I'm like you. I'm just a crocheter, right? But I do get really excited about these type of challenges. And I feel like if I can get a pattern that can be worked in the round specifically for lap gans that I could then make them and donate, I just feel really inspired to do this right now. So I've got that kind of on the back burner. And like I said, I'll figure it out. I definitely will figure it out, and I think it'll be really cool when I get it done. So anyhow, I did put the links on the link tree for Warm Up America. If you guys are interested in, and I don't have any affiliates or associates there or anything. I just have been looking personally for a place to be able to donate my stuff. Sorry, I bumped the camera there, guys. Um, it's a tight squeeze sometimes here on the couch as I'm trying to pull out this yarn and keep things flowing here. But I did put links there if you're interested. I know some people make shawls and whatnot. And so I do think it's a pretty interesting program if you're interested in looking at it. And I do think, like for me, when my grandma was in a wheelchair, this has been a number of years ago. I would have liked to have made her a blanket there when she was at the memory care facility. And so maybe you've got a friend or a family member or something um, that you might know that's in a assisted facility or something like that, or is in a wheelchair that might, it might be fun to make something. I just don't wanna make something that's, like, plain. Like, I'm not the type of person that's just gonna do, like, double crochets back and forth. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not who I am. I need it to be a little more advanced and, interesting of a pattern in order for me to keep doing it. But the blanket that I'm gonna do tomorrow is the modern ripple. So it's similar to this chevron blanket. This is a chevron. You can see this one goes up and down in points. The modern ripple is a more relaxed kind of wave. And so I'm going to work on that one tomorrow. Yes, anniversary cakes. Exactly, exactly. I have this whole tote that Mama Wheeler brought me and Papa Wheeler brought me of Caron cakes. And I feel like this would be a great way to use those cakes. I also have a lot of Red Heart Super Saver in the different ombre colors that I really have been wanting to do and make something like really cool looking with it. And I feel like when you're donating to facilities like this, it's really important that the blankets are washable. And I just feel like Red Heart is a great yarn for that, just because it stands the test of time, right? I think we all have a project from Red Heart that we made, Lord knows how many years ago, and it's been through how many washes, and it's still holding strong and doing great. So I feel like that's a great way to maybe use some of that yarn that's in my stash and then give back to the community. So I don't know. Yeah, the ripple works up fast. Macy, did you finish yours, Macy? I finished my other ripple that I did. I did it for the first time like a couple weeks ago. And again, it's not this. This is the Hugs and Kisses baby blanket that I'm working on today, guys. This is a different one than what I'm going to do tomorrow. But I do have. I got Christmas yarn. Okay, I got red, white, and green. Red Heart for the Christmas ripple that I'm going to do tomorrow. So anyhow, I already put links for the link tree for the ripple stitch. And I believe they're by Amanda, if I remember correctly. She does a great tutorial on it, but there's the written pattern. There's also the YouTube tutorial for tomorrow's video if you want to look ahead and grab out some yarn and make the ripple with me in the morning tomorrow. I think it's going to be a fun project. Fingers crossed, I hope it works up quickly. I'm going to be making a size of 35 by 45 because I do want it to be able to go for donation before the holidays. If I can get maybe one or two done, I just think it's a good way to maybe give back. But there is definitely need in our community, especially as we head towards winter. I believe they accept hats and scarves as well. You would have to dig into the details, but I did share the links on the link tree. So anyhow, I don't want this to like go on forever, but that's kind of where my heart is at and where my brain is at right now. And I'm just mentioning it in case other people are interested and kind of wondering what I'm up to and what my thoughts are these days. So anyhow, 164 watching over here on TikTok. I better talk about some of these stitches and show you all what I'm working on, right? That's what you all are here for, is for some crochet action. So let me start from the beginning. Today I am working on the Hugs and Kisses blanket. This is a pattern by the Crochet Crowd. This was designed by Jeannie. And Jeannie used to be Mikey's assistant. She's now retired, but this is a pretty famous pattern. It's been worked a lot of times. There's probably people here that have worked this pattern. Anyhow, traditionally it is a kid's blanket, a baby blanket. Here's a picture of it, Jeannie with her little grandbaby. But you can see here's pinks and blues and grays that she worked it on. It's worked a lot with cake yarns, so you can change the colors. I, however, today am working on this for a Christmas blanket. I wanted to make something for the back of my couch as we head to the holidays. And I've never had a Christmas blanket. I've always wanted one. And I thought this would be a really, really pretty pattern to have on the back of my couch or in the recliner to snuggle up with, especially if family comes over the holidays. just to have kind of a fun festive blanket. And so the pattern is linked on my link tree. There's also a link to the YouTube tutorial that Mikey does. I am streaming today both on TikTok and over on YouTube. So I've been trying to have more of a presence on YouTube. But for those that don't know, my name is April. I've seen a lot of new followers popping up this morning. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you all have found me. And our little group here is marvelous. So I can't say enough good things about the folks that join me every morning and chat amongst yourself and answer questions. I really appreciate all of that. But I have a job. I'm not a career crocheter, if you will. I have a career. I'm just a hobby crocheter, and I come on here and I try to explain some crochet stuff and just kind of give back to those that have taught me so much, and talk about the stitches and stuff that I'm doing. So that's a little bit about me. I do live in Northeast Alabama, and with the time change, I now am going live from 7:30, or excuse me, 7 to 8:30 because of daylight savings time. I work in Arizona, and I'm originally from Arizona. My husband and I moved here about 4 years ago now. And anyhow, we just love it here, but I do have to go to work at 9 Central Time. So I'm coming up on the end of this pattern, so let me talk a little bit about as we finish this and head into the next row. So this is what's called a chevron blanket. A chevron means it goes up and down like this. So if you hear the term chevron, that's what it means. You can see it goes up and down. And as we're working this pattern, this is a repeating pattern. This is the repeat. And then it also repeats as you go like this. So it makes it very easy as you get familiar with the pattern. I can sit here and crochet and talk and watch TV, listen to my audiobook, whatever, without having to refer to the pattern. So when we get to the top of the mountain here, the row below, we had 3 double crochets together, or 3 double crochets. That's what formed the top of our mountain. So as we're coming back up the mountain, I'm doing a row of single crochets. So you'll have a row of texture. This is texture, this is texture, this is texture, and so on. After you do a row of texture, you'll always do a row of these single crochets. You'll get very familiar with these single crochets because each time you finish one, you're going to do a row of the single crochets. And they're more pronounced on the back of the work, kind of when you turn it. This is actually the front of the pattern. This is the back. And so that's why it looks so nice. So as you get to the top, I look for this identifying mark here where we have our 3. The first one, I put a single crochet. That is number 12. When we go up the mountain, we do 12 single crochets. When we get to the very top here, the peak, we need to do 3 single crochets right into that same stitch. So here's number 3. That is the new top of our mountain. Now we're going to go down the mountain to the valley, and again, we need 12 single crochets. So I just start putting these. Now you can count these, but what I like to do is look for the identifying marks, and that way I don't have to count. I can talk to you guys and still keep crocheting. So what I'm looking for is when we get to the bottom of the valley, the row below, we did 3 double crochets together. So if we kind of look at our work, you can see here are those 3 double crochets that we did together. And what we need to do when we get to the valley, I just did the 12 singles. Now I need to do 3 single crochets together. So you kind of have to turn your work a little bit. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to put these together and make it squish up. That way, as you do this little squish, it'll naturally pull it down and make this kind of form down in the bottom valley. So we go into the first stitch, grab up a loop. Now instead of finishing the single crochet, you just hold it. Now I go into the next one, draw up a loop, and again, just hold it. And into the third, drop a loop, and again, holding. So those are our 3. This was our original starting one. So when you have 4, you yarn over and pull through all 4 of those stitches. See how they squished up? Now we're ready to go up the mountain. Now, when you get to the sides of your blanket, the sides are shorter. The chevrons, the middle, are 12 single crochets up and down. But when you get to the edge, you do only 5. So here we go. We're going to do 1, and again, I'm doing single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now here, it's hard to see. This little stitch right here is the edge of our work, the last stitch. So if you're new to crochet, when you do your first stitch, put in a little stitch marker like this, and it'll make it easier for you to identify. If you're familiar like me, you don't necessarily have to put in that stitch. So anyhow, I pull through and do 1 single crochet. Now when you do your last one, you have to put 2 into the same stitch. And that goes for every row, because when you do that, that is what helps keep this nice and straight. If you only do 1, see how that's kind of pulling in? That will mess up the edges of your blanket. Okay, so here's number 2. Now I'm going to get ready to start the next row. So I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to show you guys the pattern, and we'll talk through this next stitches that we need. Let's see. Sorry, there's a lot of questions flowing in this morning. I'm sorry if I'm missing stuff, guys. It's hard when we have this many people on, but I'm gonna keep talking, and hopefully you guys are getting your questions answered. For starting this blanket, I did a starting chain of 242 stitches, and I used a size H8 hook, 5mm. That is for the sofa size. Now, if you go and look at this pattern, this is on my link tree. This is by the Crochet Crowd. There's lots of text here. My printer crapped out. I got to put ink in it. It tells you this information. If you're going to make a baby blanket, use this size. If you're going to make a bedspread, use this side. It's very helpful. This is an extremely well-written pattern. I think this thing almost has 1 million views on it too over on YT. It's a very, very popular pattern and tutorial. Okay, so I encourage you guys to go check it out. This is not my pattern. This is by the Crochet Crowd. And like I said, it's one of my favorite patterns. I make it for baby blankets. Today, I'm making a Christmas chevron. And so I just did, now this, you can see here, see these little rings, these little stacked rings? If you come up here to your legend, it tells you that's a chain. Now, what I have learned from myself in crocheting, my work looks better if I only do a chain of 2. If I do a chain of 3, it kind of bows out on the side. But if you are a normal crocheter, you would do a chain of 3. Then we're going to start with these crisscrossed stitches. And on the sides, see how these sides are shorter? This is the middle part. So you're going to have, this is the repeat, right? You can see this. This is the chevron. We're doing, I think, 8 of these. But the sides, when you first start out, is a little shorter of a pattern. So anyhow, I'm going to do a chain of 2. I just turned my work, and then we're going to do these crisscrosses. Now, the way you read these is you see the crisscross, you come up here, and it tells you on the legend, this is a cross stitch, an X stitch. If you don't know how to make this stitch, all you have to do is Google or go to YouTube or TikTok and put in cross stitch tutorial, crochet cross stitch, and somebody will have some kind of video that tells you how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start this. Now, when we get to the valley, you can see this little symbol here is the same as we did for the very first row when we started out. And that again is the 3 together double crochet. Then as we're going up the mountain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crisscrosses. Then when I get to the very top, here is our 3 together of the row below. When I get to the top, we're going to have 3 double crochets into that one stitch. Then we're going to go down the mountain. And again, we have 6 cross crochets. And then here's our valley again, and we're going to repeat this. So here is my chain of 2. If you're doing it normal, you would have a chain of 3. The way I do this is I skip this first stitch. This is the first stitch, and I go into the second stitch, and I do a double crochet. Now I'm going to do a crisscross, and I'm going to wrap my yarn around. I'm going to go down into this stitch that I missed, put my hook through, draw up a loop, So now I have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is just a double crochet. Instead of going up and down with them, just one and the other, you're crisscrossing them. So let's do the next one. We're going to skip one into the next. We're going to do a double crochet. Now I'm going to come back and pick up this one I missed, yarn over, go right down into that stitch, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There is our second crisscross. Skip one into the next, double crochet. Again, go back and pick up the one that you missed, double crochet. There's number 3. Okay, so here we are at the bottom of our valley, and I can identify this. See how there's this little grouping here together? Those are my 3 together. So if we turn this, you can see 1, 2, 3. We need to put these 3 together, but we're going to do this as a double crochet 3 together. So just like you do a double crochet, yarn over, go down into that first stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now here you don't finish it, just hold those 2. Repeat, yarn over. Now we're going to go into the second stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, don't finish, just keep holding. Yarn over into the third stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you can see this is the original loop we had on our hook. It doesn't really count. Here's 1, 2, and 3. So we have a total of 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4. And now you can see it put those 3 together. So what that did is it created the valley. So this is like a low point. Now you can see we're going to head up the hill. So now we're going to again do the cross stitches. I'm going to skip one into the next, double crochet. Now here we got to come back and pick up this one we missed, yarn over, put it through, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. See how they're crossed? Isn't that fun texture? Skip one into the next, double crochet. Now come back and pick up this one that you missed. Yarn over, back down in that, and then do a double crochet. And we just keep repeating this until we have 6 crisscrosses going up the hill. So one might think that these chevrons are super scary to do. And when I first saw the chevron, for a long time, I thought, there's no way I can do this pattern. I didn't wrap my head around the peaks and the valleys. As you've heard me say with crochet, a lot of it is just an illusion. Are we really going up and down the valley? We started with a straight chain. It's how we put these stitches together that draws it in and creates that valley. Up here at the top, here's our last crisscross, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here you can see how there's 3 in that space. It's kind of stretched out at the bottom. Here was the first stitch. Here's the second. Here's the third. This is the middle, the very top. Now we need to do 3 double crochets into that stitch, and not together, just 3 double crochets. When you do 3 double crochets into the same stitch, it causes it to fan out. So this is the new top of our mountain. And now we're ready to start back down the other side. And then when we get to the valley, we're going to do them together. So again, we need 6 crisscrosses. So the exact same thing. Skip one into the next. We're going to do a double crochet. Now I got to come back and pick up this one that I missed, yarn over, go back down into that first one, and then do a double crochet. Skip one into the next, double crochet. Here's the one I missed, yarn over, put my hook through that, all the way through the back, grab a loop, pull it up. Now we have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. It's just a double crochet. Again, it's an illusion. It's about the placement. Skip one into the next, double crochet. Here's the first one, yarn over, into that, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Sugar and cream yarn is washable. Isn't sugar and cream yarn cotton, Mary? I believe it's washable. So, guys, when you're wondering about yarns, and maybe she doesn't have a ball, she may have lost her label. But when you're looking at yarns, if you look on the back, if you're a new crocheter, um, it tells you this is a 4-weight yarn. This is what you use if you're going to knit. This is what I'm using to crochet. So I'm using a US size H8 hook, 5 millimeter. That's what I'm using today. Then it gives you these symbols, but it tells you over here as well, machine washable and dryable. And it says no iron. I don't know what that one is. But there's charts, a universal chart for these symbols that you can get. But I think it's washable, Mary, because I believe sugar and cream is cotton. So if you go online and Google sugar and cream, you could probably find it on Amazon or Wally World, and it'll show you that specific diagram of how the care instructions is what you're looking for. So one of the questions that has been asked to me, guys, as I'm working on this blanket, obviously I'm doing red and white. The color you're not seeing yet is this green. That's going to be the third color. So this is dark sage that I picked out for Christmas. So this is harvest red, white, and dark sage. Once this white gets this big, then I'll be ready to start the green. So obviously, I just started this blanket last week. It's going to be a while that I'm going to be working on this project. So if you guys are interested in making this Hugs and Kisses blanket, you're going to see it some more. And the other thing, for those that don't know, I'm live streaming this morning on YouTube and on TikTok. And it takes a day or so before the video is recapped on YouTube, but you can see my previous lives if you missed them over on YT now. That's why I'm trying to stream on both, just because it makes it so that you have something to go back and look at again later on. So someone has asked a couple times about, will this red bleed into the white? And the answer is probably yes. And the way that I get around that is there is a product on the market, and I believe it's by Shout, but it's called color collector sheets. And you get them at Wally World, your grocery store, whatever. And anyhow, when you're washing um, colors and darks, you throw in these color collector sheets, and those will grab any dyes or inks that are released in the wash and suck them onto that sheet, and it won't transfer onto the color. And so that is how I will care for this blanket if I do need to wash it. If I'm gifting a baby blanket and I'm using bright colors with whites, I will gift a box of the color collector sheets, but they're just laundry sheets. You can get them, at your grocery store, Wally World, wherever you do your shopping. And they're called color collector sheets. They made them so that you don't have to separate your darks and colors anymore in your wash. You just throw in one of those sheets. Your socks don't get all dingy because it collects up those dyes. So I can get a small box of them for like $4 or $5. For me, if I'm gifting a blanket that is dark colors like this, I just gift a box of the sheets, and then I put a little note about the care instructions in the card or whatever. Just as a precaution. Now, this blanket that I'm making is for me. But again, to answer that question, I know I got asked last week and I didn't have a chance to answer. And Betty asked again this morning. And so it was a good reminder. I probably need to make a little video of that on my TikTok, just to kind of explain how I do that, because I think a lot of people wonder about that. And for a long time, I didn't know about those. I think I learned about them on the Yarn Inspirations group on Book of Faces. I'm pretty sure that's where I heard about it first. So anyhow, if sometimes you just don't know those things, and if you're not talking crochet to people, it's one of those unknowns. So anyhow, for those that are just joining, I know we've had a lot of traffic today on the live. Thank you very much, and 20,000 screen taps. Thank you guys. You all are amazing. Every day you come on here and amaze me. We've also had 16 screen shares. And I know it's been a very popular live today, and that's due to all of you guys sharing the love, conversing back and forth, and tapping your screens and everything. So thank you guys. And thank you for the gifts. I've seen those flying up as well. And I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to personally thank each one of you, but I do see those and they mean so much. So thank you. And I know I've also missed a lot of comments today. If I missed your comment, please do not take it personal. I try very hard to crochet and explain stitches and answer all the questions, but we do have some obvious moderators here. Anvil helps us, Gen X helps us, and a lot of people just help answer the questions as well as I'm crocheting. So this is a wonderful little community. I will update the link to the Discord on the link tree. But anyhow, I hope you guys are all having a marvelous day, and shout out to the folks down in Texas and Arkansas and Oklahoma that have had serious weather the last day or so. I hope everybody is safe and families are safe. I haven't seen the news to know how bad it was, but I was watching my man Ryan Hall yesterday, who I like so much, a little bit on the live that he had going about the weather. So anyhow, I hope everybody is safe. But let me explain some more stitches. Now, we have had daylight savings time impact us, and so my live schedule has changed a little bit from the traditional, and so I'm only going to be on for an hour and a half while we have daylight savings time, because I have to go to work at 9 now instead of 10. There's only an hour difference between us and Arizona. I'm in Alabama and I work in Arizona. So with the time difference, we only have an hour and a half together, but I hope it's still enough that you guys can kind of get an idea of what I've got cooking and working and all that stuff. So hopefully you still have time to get some inspiration and chat with all your friends. Let's put it that way. But we have 10 minutes left, so I'm going to talk about this pattern for those that are just coming on. Like I said, this probably won't be the last time that I'm working on this project. I have quite a ways to go, but I will kind of explain these stitches and finish out the live. And tomorrow I'm going to be starting a new blanket that is a Christmas ripple blanket. So anyhow, I'm excited to start that. So here we are. This is what's called a chevron. It goes up and down. So when you get to the top of your mountain here, I look at the row we had below, and you'll remember I had 3 single crochets together. This is number 1, 2, and 3. The very last or the very first part of that 3 together is where we end our crisscrosses. So on the sides, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crisscrosses, and those are adding just marvelous texture to the blanket. Now, when you get to the very top here, this is the top of the mountain, I'm going to put 3 double crochets. And those don't go together. You just put 3 into the same stitch. When you do that, it causes it to fan out. This is the new peak of our mountain, these 3 stitches, okay? So when we're coming back around, I'm going to be looking for this. This is the new center. Now we're going to head back down the side. We need 6 cross double crochets. So I'm going to skip 1. Into the next one, we're going to put a double crochet. Now I have to come back and pick up this one that I missed. This is where the crisscross magic happens. So I wrap my yarn around, I go down into that stitch, grab a loop and pull it up. Now we have 3. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you can see those are now crossed. So again, I'm going to skip 1 into the next, grab up a loop, double crochet, come back and pick up this one I missed. Yarn over, go down into that stitch, grab a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's another crisscross. Skip 1 into the next, double crochet. Now we've got to come pick back up that one we missed. So I go down into that stitch, put your hook all the way through, grab a loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So it's just a double crochet. The only difference is the placement, okay? So if you know how to make a double crochet and you've never made a crisscross, do not get intimidated. You can do this stitch. You skip one, go into the next one, do a double crochet. Yarn over. We're going to do another double crochet. Again, it's about the placement. It's all an illusion in crochet. Put your hook through that stitch that we missed, all the way through the back. Grab up a loop, pull it up. There's our 3. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. There's another crisscross. Skip one, into the next one, double crochet. Now we got to get this one that we missed. Yarn over, put my hook down into that hole, push it through, grab a loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's number 5. Skip one, into the next one, double crochet. Now we've got to get this one. Yarn over, right down into that stitch, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So now if we look, here's the top of our mountain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're down to the valley. Now here's the valley. See how these are kind of squished up together? These are our 3 together stitches. So if we kind of turn our work, you can see the top of the stitches. Here's 1, 2, and 3. Now what I need to do is I need to put 3 double crochets together. So I wrap my yarn around. I'm going to go into the first stitch, draw up a loop just like a double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'm going to hold. Just keep these held. Don't do anything else. Yarn over, go down into number 2 stitch. Again, grab a loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, hold. Now we need number 3. Same thing, yarn over, go down through number 3, grab up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So this was our original loop. Here's our 1, 2, 3 double crochets. And now we're going to put them all together, yarn over, pull through all 4. So you can see those squished together, and that becomes our valley. Up here at the top, the 3 kind of fan out. Down here in the valley, they squish together. Now we're ready to go back up the mountain. So again, we're going to skip one, into the next, double crochet. Now we've got to come back and pick up this one that we missed we're going to crisscross these. Yarn over, put it through, grab a loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. See how they're crisscrossed? Skip one, into the next, double crochet. Now come get this one again. Yarn over, push your hook through, grab that loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Skip one, into the next, double crochet. Come back, pick up this one we missed. Push your hook through, grab that loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Skip one, into the next, double crochet. Now pick up that one we missed. So you're just going to keep repeating this up the side of the mountain, and we need a total of 6 crisscrosses. One, two, three, four, five, 6. And it looks like I've gotten a stitch off here. This is my little 3 together. I'm going to skip this one, and I'm just going to go right in the mountain and kind of correct this. 1, 2, 3 double crochets. That is the top of our mountain. Now we're going to head back down the side. So again, we're going to skip one, into the next, double crochet, and going back down the side, we need 6 crisscrosses. Skip one, double crochet, pick up the one you missed. There's number 2. Here's number 3, 4, I got it. This is messed up. Hang on, I got to rewind this. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. That's what you call frogging. For those that are new to crocheting, I'm ribbiting because it's called rip it. I don't know how this is. I think I got this off. This is the top here. Don't be afraid if your counts get off to rip it out. It's no big deal. Happens to the best of us. There's my little frogs. Okay. Easy recovery though. Happens to the best of us. Happens to all of us for sure with our stitches getting a little off. So don't be afraid to um, catch your mistake and go back and fix it. One of the things I will do too is I'll count backwards. Okay. So if my counts get off, I know this is the valley here. 1, 2, 3. I will count backwards. Here's 1, 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So that I can regain my placement on the blanket. And that's totally fine to do that too. Just make those slight modifications and continue on. Okay, so here's number 6, crisscross. Now here we are to the bottom of the valley. So we have 1, 2, and 3 stitches. Here's where we had the 3 together from the row below. If you kind of turn your work, you can kind of see those sideways looking V's. And we're going to do 3 together double crochets. So I wrap my yarn around, I go down into the first stitch, grab a loop, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. Now just hold. Yarn over, go down into the second stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, holding. Here's number 3, same thing, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So all you're doing is double crochets, but you're not finishing them. This is the first loop we had on our hook. Here's 1, 2, 3 unfinished double crochets. Now we yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. So you can see that squishes those together. So as we're going up and down, this is the valley and here's the peak. But you can see this little this little 3 together. Excuse me. Oh man, I got a tickle. That is what causes our little valleys to form. So I'm going to go up the mountain one more time and then it'll be time for me to end my live. Okay. For those that are wondering, tomorrow I'm going to be on at 7 o'clock again, Central Time, 7 to 8:30. It is a little shorter right now because of daylight savings time, but I have to go to work at 9 now instead of 10 because of the time difference between Alabama and Arizona. So a little shorter lives, but hopefully it was still enough that you guys kind of got a feel for this pattern. Now I will be working on this again at some point, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be starting a new Christmas ripple blanket. So I'm super excited about that. I already put some links on the link tree. It's by Amanda. So you guys could check that out if you want to get ahead or crochet with me tomorrow. But anyhow, I hope you all have enjoyed this live. I've seen lots of new followers today. And so if you're new to my channel, my name is April. And every time I come on live, I put links on my link tree to the pattern that I'm working on along with the yarn that I'm working on. But the pattern I've been working on today is the Hugs and Kisses Chevron blanket. It's a free pattern by Mikey at the Crochet Crowd. And I just love Mikey. I think he does marvelous patterns. This particular pattern was done by Jeannie, who is his former assistant. She has now retired, but this is a pretty famous blanket that I'm making. It is it's traditionally used as a baby blanket, but I thought it would be marvelous to do a Christmas chevron. So I did the red on the live last week, and now I'm doing the white. And so we just finished this crisscross stitch here. My next stitch will be the bobble stitch. And so that will be in white up here. And then eventually I will be adding this green. This green is dark sage. The yarn that I'm using today is Caron Simply Soft, harvest red, white, and dark sage. And I'm trying to make a Christmas blanket. But this is what the pattern looks like if you go download it. It's like I said, it's a free pattern by the Crochet Crowd. Obviously, this is Jeannie and her little grandbaby that she made it for. But you can see a lot of times it's baby colors. I have a lot of these on my TikTok page, so you can see other examples. But this is a very famous pattern that I'm doing today. And I just thought it would be a pretty pattern in red and green and white for the back of my couch for Christmas. So I'm sure this isn't the last time that I'll be working on this pattern. You guys will see this again. But I hope for those that are new followers, we have a great community here. I encourage you guys to, keep coming back, and maybe not every day. There's something that I'll be working on, but I try to publish events so you can see what's coming down the road. And every week I come on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with daylight savings time. It'll be from 7 to 9:30 Central Time. So anyhow, thank you all so much for the likes this morning. 22,000 screen taps and 21 shares. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a marvelous day, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye for now.